The air trembled with the sound of awakening life. A low mist hung over the Okavango Delta, soft as silk, glowing gold under the first light of dawn. It was the kind of morning that made the world seem gentle, when every sound, from the buzz of dragonflies to the distant call of fish eagles, folded together like a song. And moving through that calm sea of grass was a family of elephants. Their footsteps were slow, careful, and sure, the earth shaking gently beneath them. At the center of the herd, barely tall enough to reach his mother's belly, stumbled a newborn calf. His name didn't matter to the world, but to his mother, Asha, he was everything, the heartbeat that gave her purpose. His trunk waved clumsily, grabbing at thin air and bits of grass, earning amused grumbles from his aunts. Every few steps, he tripped, then hurried to catch up, brushing against Asha's strong legs as if to make sure she was still there. Asha's eyes, deep and ancient, watched over him constantly. She moved with a quiet strength that seemed to flow from the land itself. Around her, the herd hummed with low rumbles, the secret language of elephants, a soft chorus of reassurance. It was a moment of peace, and yet, something unseen already stirred beneath that beauty. The camera of the jungle would have captured it slowly. The shimmer of sunlight on still water, the quiet sigh of wind through papyrus reeds, and then a ripple, so small, it might have gone unnoticed. But that ripple didn't come from wind or bird. It came from something alive, something waiting. The delta was a maze of hidden worlds. Beneath the surface, shadows shifted among roots and reeds. And deep below, where the mud turned cool and thick, a pair of lidless eyes opened. The python had been there for days, still as death, its coils blending into the swamp floor. It was old, older than any predator nearby, and patient. Its hunger had waited long enough. Above, Asha guided her herd toward a shallow pool. It was part of their daily route, a safe place, or so they believed. The water glistened like glass. Her baby squealed with delight and splashed clumsily at the edge, his reflection dancing before him. The herd relaxed. Birds fluttered nearby. Dust lifted in slow spirals as the sun rose higher, turning everything warm and golden. It was in this peace that danger often came. The python's body, longer than a truck, began to move. 1 inch at a time. The surface trembled slightly, then stilled again. The calf didn't notice. His small trunk dipped into the water, blowing bubbles. He squeaked in surprise when a fish brushed his foot and stepped back, bumping into Asha's leg. She let out a low, affectionate rumble, a mother's way of saying, "You're safe." But her ears twitched. Something felt off. Elephants could sense vibrations better than sight. The ground carried whispers of things unseen. Asha paused, lifting her head. Her ears fanned wide, catching sounds too deep for human hearing. The splash of a bird, the hum of the wind, and something else. Something heavy, something alive. The herd stilled, uncertain. The matriarch, an old female with scars on her tusks, gave a low signal to stay calm. But Asha's heart began to beat faster. Her trunk brushed against her calf again. He was safe, for now. The moment stretched. The reeds swayed. A dragonfly hovered, its wings sparkling in the light. Then the jungle exhaled again, as if to say, "Not yet." The herd moved on, slowly leaving the water behind. But Asha glanced back once more. Her gaze lingered on the pool, on that silent, mirrored surface. A shiver of unease passed through her massive frame. Far beneath, the python waited, its hunger growing sharper. It had seen the small one. It remembered the taste of youth, soft and tender. But it also knew the danger of elephants. To strike now would be suicide. Patience would be its weapon. The sun climbed higher. Hours passed. The herd wandered deeper into the floodplain, feeding on lush grasses, pulling at roots with rhythmic ease. Calves played around the adults, dust rising from their feet in little golden clouds. The delta was alive. Frogs croaked, distant hippos bellowed, and above it all, the sound of elephants rumbled like distant thunder. Still, that sense of calm began to thin. Asha's instincts, the invisible thread that tied her to the rhythms of nature, tugged at her. Something was coming. She didn't know what. She only knew it wasn't right. As afternoon approached, heat shimmered over the land. The waterholes began to dry slightly, edges cracking. Herds of impalas moved cautiously between shadows, and monkeys grew restless in the trees. The air grew heavy, thick with humidity and tension. The baby calf, exhausted, leaned against Asha's leg. She turned toward him, brushing him gently with her trunk. Her touch lingered, long and slow, as if she were reminding herself of his warmth. The rest of the herd had begun to move toward another patch of marsh. Asha followed, but every few steps, she looked back. The jungle grew quieter than before. Too quiet, birdsong faded. The air seemed to hold its breath again. Asha froze mid-step. Her ears lifted, her trunk raised. From somewhere behind them came a faint splash. Not large, not near, but wrong. The matriarch stopped too, sensing the same disturbance. Elephants communicate without words, and in that moment, an invisible conversation passed through them all. Danger. Somewhere close. The calf lifted his trunk curiously, trying to copy his mother. He couldn't sense the danger. His world was still filled with play and wonder. He nudged a reed and squeaked softly. Asha's heart thudded. She placed her trunk over his back, gently pushing him forward, urging him closer to the safety of the herd. Behind them, unseen, the water's surface rippled again, slow, deliberate, hungry. The python had moved closer now, drawn by the faint vibrations of the calf's footsteps. It slid through the reeds, its patterned body blending perfectly with the shadows. The world above had no idea that as the sun dipped low, painting the grasslands orange and gold. The herd finally stopped to rest. Asha's calf lay down beside her, curling his small body into the dust. She watched him sleep, her breathing deep and even, her shadow falling across him like a shield. The swamp shimmered in the distance. The same swamp that hid the ancient predator. The night birds began to call. Crickets sang. Somewhere far away, thunder grumbled. And between those sounds, the land whispered its warning, a language older than any words. Peace never lasts long in the wild. The camera would pull back now, a wide, cinematic view of the delta glowing beneath the fading sky. The elephants, small yet powerful, moved like gray ghosts through the mist. Underneath, unseen by them all, the python's coil slid silently through the black water, closer with every passing hour. The storm was coming. And when it did, the heart of the delta would tremble. The air broke first, not with sound, but with motion. Water exploded upward in a burst of silver and mud. Asha spun, heart slamming in her chest. For a single, frozen second, she couldn't understand what she was seeing. Only the violent spray, the desperate, high-pitched cry that didn't sound like her baby's usual trumpet. Then she saw it. A twisting, muscular shadow in the reeds, wrapped around something small and struggling. Her calf. The sound that tore from Asha's throat was ancient, half scream, half roar, a sound so deep it seemed to shake the trees. The herd answered instantly, trumpeting in terror, circling, dust flying around them in clouds. But none of them moved closer. They could see what she could see now, a python, massive and coiled like a living rope. Its scales slick with mud and sunlight. It had her baby. The calf screamed again, a sound that ripped through the heart of the jungle. Its legs thrashed, water splashing everywhere. But the more it moved, the tighter the snake pulled. The python's body rippled, each coil sliding higher, pressing, crushing. The water frothed with bubbles as the calf's trunk flailed above the surface, searching for air, for help. Asha charged. She hit the water like a thunderclap, her huge legs sending waves in all directions. The python reacted fast, tightening its grip. Its head lifted, jaws opening wide, fangs glinting. For a moment, time slowed, the world shrinking to the space between them. A mother's fury and a predator's hunger collided in a single heartbeat. Asha swung her trunk down, striking hard. The blow cracked against the snake's body, sending it thrashing sideways, but not enough. The coils held. The calf gasped, a sharp, choking cry, and its legs gave out, sinking deeper. The herd screamed again, their trumpets echoing across the plain, but none dared enter the chaos. The water was too deep, the mud too thick, the danger too great. This was Asha's battle now, one mother against nature itself. She roared again, louder this time, the sound rolling like thunder through the valley. Then she did something almost impossible for a creature her size. She dropped to her knees. The water surged around her body as she lowered herself beside her calf, bringing her tusks level with the python's grip. The snake hissed, a deep, vibrating sound that filled the air. It tried to turn toward her, mouth wide, but Asha struck first. With a single, brutal thrust, she slid one tusk beneath the python's coils and lifted. The snake convulsed, twisting, but she didn't stop. She pushed harder, muscles trembling, eyes wild with fear and rage. Her trunk wrapped around her calf's neck, steadying it, pulling it upward while her tusks pried the predator away. Mud swirled. Water turned dark. The calf's cries grew weaker. Asha's heart pounded. Every breath felt like fire. For a moment, it seemed hopeless. The python was too strong, its body looping tighter with every movement. Its tail coiled around her tusks now, trying to anchor itself to hold its prize. Asha let out a deep, guttural sound, the sound of exhaustion, of heartbreak, of defiance. She pushed again, harder than before. The python slipped. It wasn't much. Only an inch, maybe two, but it was enough. Water rushed between its coils. Asha seized the moment, thrusting both tusks under the snake's body and heaving upward with all her strength. The python screamed, a low, unnatural hiss. And suddenly, one coil loosened. The calf gasped, air flooding back into its lungs in a sharp, desperate trumpet. Asha roared, rising from the water in one sweeping motion, throwing the python's weight aside. The snake twisted violently, trying to rewrap, but she was ready. She slammed her trunk down on it. Once, twice, sending ripples across the pool. The sound echoed like drumbeats. The python writhed, its body lashing out in wide arcs, splashing mud across her face and tusks. But she didn't back away. She couldn't. Every instinct in her screamed to end it, to crush the life from the creature that had dared to touch her child. But in the wild, even rage must bow to instinct. She knew she needed to protect, not destroy. The calf, still trembling, stumbled backward toward the safety of shallow water. Its tiny trunk reached out blindly until it touched her leg. That touch, small, shaking, alive, steadied her. Asha turned once more toward the python. It was still moving, slower now, its long body curling in confusion. She swung her tusks again, driving it deeper into the reeds, forcing it to retreat. The snake vanished beneath the surface, leaving behind only bubbles and a slick trail of disturbed water. Silence followed. For the first time, the jungle stopped. The frogs were quiet. The birds, silent. Even the wind seemed to pause. All that remained was the heavy sound of Asha's breathing, deep and broken. Mud and water clung to her body, streaked with blood, some hers, some her calves. The little one leaned against her leg, chest rising and falling quickly, eyes half closed. Asha bent her head low, pressing her trunk against his back, feeling the weak but steady pulse beneath his skin. She didn't trumpet this time. She just breathed, slow, shaking breaths that carried both relief and sorrow. The herd approached again, cautiously. The matriarch rumbled softly, a low vibration that rolled through the air like comfort. One by one, they formed a circle around Asha and her calf, a living wall of gray skin and loyalty. The jungle began to breathe again. The python was gone, swallowed by the darkness of the water, but its presence lingered, in the ripples that spread outward, in the torn reeds, in the fear that still hung heavy in the air. Asha's eyes followed those ripples. For a long time, she just stared, not in anger anymore, but in something deeper, a quiet, heavy understanding of what the wild demands from every mother who lives within it. Strength, patience, and sometimes mercy. The calf stirred, letting out a soft, trembling sound. She touched him again, her trunk curling protectively around his small body. The sun had begun to set now, painting the water in gold and blood red. Steam rose from the swamp, curling like ghosts that eye in the distance. Thunder rolled again, the same storm she had felt coming since morning. The air was thick with its promise. As the light faded, Asha guided her calf out of the swamp, step by step, every movement slow and deliberate. Behind them, the herd followed in silence. Only once did she look back, to the still water, now calm, hiding its secrets once more, and in that silence, as the last rays of sunlight touched the rippling surface, the jungle whispered again, softer this time, almost like a prayer. Even the gentle must fight to survive. Chapter 3. The weight of mercy, approximate. 1,000 words, the swamp was silent again. The kind of silence that comes only after chaos, thick, heavy, and full of ghosts. Ripples still spread across the shallow water, fading slowly as if the earth itself were trying to forget what had just happened. Broken reeds floated in muddy circles. A single bird called from somewhere high in the mangroves, its cry trembling and uncertain. Asha stood in the middle of it all, massive, trembling, her flanks streaked with blood and mud. Her chest rose and fell like the ground itself was breathing through her. Beneath her stood her calf, shivering but alive, pressed against her legs so tightly it was hard to see where mother ended and child began. Steam rose from their bodies in the fading light, turning the air gold and ghostly. For a long moment, neither moved. Even the water seemed to hesitate. Then Asha slowly lowered her trunk and brushed it over her calf's head, a gesture so gentle it seemed impossible that those same muscles had moments ago torn through reeds and stormed into battle. The calf squeaked softly, a broken sound full of exhaustion. Its small chest heaved, still fighting for breath after the python's crushing coils. Across the swamp, the python shifted weakly. Its thick body, once so full of terrible strength, now sagged under its own weight. Mud clung to its patterned scales, and every movement sent small waves rolling toward the elephants. Its head lifted for a second, eyes dull, tongue flicking, and then it began to slide backward, deeper into the shadowed water. It was beaten but alive. Asha watched it go. Her ears flapped once, slowly, like heavy sails catching a tired wind. The instinct to charge again still burned in her chest, to end the threat forever, but something inside her stopped her. She could crush it. She could make sure it never touched another calf again. But as she stared at the snake's retreating shape, something ancient passed through her eyes. Not rage, but understanding. This was the law of the wild. Everything fought to live. The python was not evil, only hungry. And she, too, had done what she must to protect her own. There was no victory here, only survival. The herd began to return, their massive shapes emerging from the fog like ghosts of the earth. One by one, they stepped into the clearing, older females, sisters, cousins, forming a slow, deliberate circle around Asha and her calf. Their trunks touched her shoulders, her back, her face, feeling the tremors that still ran through her. It was a silent gesture of comfort, an ancient ritual older than any language. The matriarch, gray with age and wisdom, stepped forward. Her eyes met Asha's, calm, knowing. For a moment, they stood like that. Two souls who understood what it meant to carry both love and fury in the same heart. The matriarch lifted her trunk and touched the calf's side, checking its breath, its strength. Then she gave a low rumble, soft, deep, full of reassurance. The sound rolled through the swamp like thunder softened by distance. Slowly, Asha responded with her own rumble, weaker, more fragile, but it was enough. The circle around them loosened. The herd began to move again, guiding Asha and her calf toward higher ground, away from the dark water that had nearly swallowed them both. As they walked, the sky began to change. The heavy gray clouds that had covered the delta for days broke apart, and sunlight spilled through like gold poured across the horizon. Every drop of water, every blade of grass, every ripple on the surface glowed. It was as if the swamp itself was exhaling, finally releasing the fear it had held in its lungs. Asha moved slowly, each step deliberate. Her body ached, her legs trembled, but she kept going, guiding her calf gently between her legs. The calf stumbled once, still weak from the ordeal, but Asha was there instantly, her trunk wrapping around its belly, lifting, steadying, holding it close. Her eyes softened as she looked down at it. For a second, the horror of the attack faded, replaced by something deeper, the quiet joy of knowing her child still lived. Behind them, the python slipped fully beneath the water. The ripples widened, shimmered in the light, and disappeared. Somewhere below, it would hide among roots and mud, licking its wounds, waiting for strength to return. Nature did not mourn or punish. It only continued by the time the sun began to sink. The herd had reached the edge of the swamp where tall reeds swayed in the evening wind. Crickets had begun to sing again, and the air was filled with their steady rhythm, life reclaiming its balance. Asha stopped beside a pool of still water and lowered her trunk to drink. The calf followed, its reflection trembling beside hers in the golden light. For the first time since the attack, Asha allowed herself to breathe deeply. The water was cool, the air soft. She felt the weight of exhaustion settle into her bones, but beneath it was something else, a strange peace. She had not killed. She had chosen mercy in another world. Another kind of creature might have called that weakness. But here, in the endless rhythm of the wild, mercy was its own kind of strength. It was what allowed the swamp to heal, the python to crawl away, the calf to live another day. It was what made life possible. Asha lifted her head and looked out across the glowing marsh. The sun was low now, turning the world into molten gold. Her herd grazed quietly nearby, their dark shapes outlined against the light. Birds skimmed the water's surface, wings flashing silver. Somewhere far off, thunder rumbled again, not of a storm, but of distant elephants calling across the delta. The calf pressed its small head against her leg, and she answered by curling her trunk around it, pulling it close. The gesture was slow, sacred. It said what no sound could. You are safe. You are mine. We go on. A breeze moved through the reeds, carrying the scent of wet earth and new life. The swamp, which had moments ago been a place of terror, now shimmered with calm. The camera of nature, if one could imagine such a thing, might have slowly pulled back then, rising higher and higher until Asha and her calf became small figures surrounded by gold and green. The world seemed endless from above, the delta stretching out in every direction like veins of light. And somewhere beneath that vast stillness, the water hid its secrets again, life and death, predator and prey, mercy and fear, all balanced in one heartbeat. As night began to fall, a final beam of sunlight caught Asha's face. Her eyes, once filled with rage and panic, now glowed softly, not victorious, but wise. She turned toward the horizon, toward the safety of her herd, and walked on. Behind her, the ripples faded. The swamp fell silent once more, and in that silence, you could almost hear the jungle breathe, slow, steady, alive, as if it, too, understood what Asha had taught, that even in the heart of wildness, mercy has its place.